love it. I love it. Hello. Welcome back to the Expat experience. I have been on holidays, so we had a little break. But today we have a guest in the studio, Brett from the US.
Hey, how are you?
You are a pretty fresh expat, right?
Yeah. In fact,
How fresh?
ironically, today is my 3-month anniversary, as a matter of fact.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Everybody. Okay, cool. You come from where in the US?
Before I moved to Budapest, I'd been in New Orleans, Louisiana, for the last 3 years. Before that, my dad's ex-military, grew up all over the country, but had spent a lot of time outside of New York City, Jersey, Connecticut. But the last 3 years was in New Orleans.
And now you are in Budapest.
I have relocated to Budapest. Yep, I'm
Tell me the reason, why?
Why do men do 99% of the things we do? For the love of a beautiful woman. So
amazing.
Fell in love, and she said, move to Budapest. So I quit my job, sold everything, sold my car, packed up, sent some stuff over, packed suitcases, and flew from New Orleans to New York to Zurich to Budapest.
Right.
And
how was that flight?
I hate to fly.
Yeah?
I absolutely hate to fly. And I made some old Swiss guy's life miserable for 7 hours in the seat in front of me. Because of my size, you are not putting your seat back if I'm sitting behind you.
Right.
And this poor guy slept sitting up the entire flight from New York to Zurich because I was not letting him put that seat back.
Did you kind of like push it back? You know, like
I didn't even have to do that. Just when I sit in a plane seat, my knees are against the back of the seat in front of me, and that's all. I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you.
Yeah, sure. So you came to Budapest to start a new life with your woman and everything. What did you used to do back in the States?
Been a stand-up comedian for about 30 years.
Nice one.
Very much on the road comedian for a long time. When comedy in America kind of hit that peak and began to wane off, I have always been a foodie. I've always been
a foodie.
Love food from all over.
Nice.
So I got into the restaurant business.
All right.
And I found, to me, being in a restaurant, being on the restaurant floor was like being in show business. It was like being on stage every night with a different audience.
True, actually. You can make something out of this, you know, like as a performance.
So fell in love with the restaurant business while I was in New Orleans. Ended up being lucky enough to work for easily one of the best restaurants, if not, in my opinion, the best restaurant in New Orleans, listed as one of the top 30 restaurants in America, one of the top 200 restaurants in the world.
Wow.
In the French Quarter, called Brennan's. It's where they invented Bananas Foster dessert. So ended up working as a maitre d' host, front of the house at Brennan's for 2 years. Was absolutely spectacular. So shout out to everybody at Brennan's in New Orleans. I miss you guys.
Yeah.
And it was a spectacular job because it's a destination restaurant. If you go to New Orleans, you have to go to Brennan's. It's just one of those
places.
It's like one of the. It's a bucket
you mark
list
it
place.
on the map. Like we're going there for sure. That's awesome. And now, have you found a job already? How's it going for you? What's your tell me what's your experience so far in relocating?
There's the downside of when you move, and I'm sure it's just not Hungary. I'm sure it's anywhere. You have to go through the bureaucracy. You have to.
Yeah, please tell us about the bureaucracy.
You know, I can tell you about the 8.5 hours I spent at immigration to talk to somebody for 10 minutes. I got there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and left at 10:30, and you know it made.
But you came at 2 in the afternoon and you still got to talk to somebody?
At 10:30 that night. They literally locked the door behind us. So, you know, add to that.
Good to know, though, that you can actually stay until 10:30.
Yes, so in case you ever wonder, they don't let you in after 6 o'clock, but if you're there before 6 o'clock, you're going to be there for another 4.5 hours.
Wow. How did you entertain yourself?
A lot of Netflix and YouTube videos.
Yeah?
And I did very good. Normally, I don't have the best patience. I have a little bit of a short fuse, and even I was impressed at how well I took it. But, you know, my problem is I'm dealing with getting married, marrying a Hungarian citizen, arranging to stay here, you know, permanently, and then deal with, you know, getting the work permit.
Yeah.
So, the big problem is trying to figure your way through all the
Yeah,
bureaucracy.
which end to start? Because
What do you do
hear,
in what order? Where do you go? Hopefully they speak, in my case, English. Luckily they do. But I could see where a lot of people from other countries, don't speak Hungarian.
yeah,
In case you don't know it, second most difficult language in the world. Congratulations, Hungary. So, luckily, so far, anybody I've talked to speaks English.
that's amazing because
Luckily my fiance is Hungarian, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes a big difference
That changed a
in
lot,
talking or
true.
dealing with anybody.
True.
But it's very daunting if you want to come here to work or to get married or to live here because it's such a great place to live.
Yeah.
You really do need to have all your ducks in a row, as we say in America.
Yes, and it would you would want to have even all your documents prepared. You
Yes.
would want to be, but it's kind of the information, like my own experience is that it's hard to find what to do first. What's the first step? What's the second step?
Yeah.
What do I need for this? And you're here on a tourist visa for the moment? Or
Being an
kind of-
American, you don't need a visa. You can just come for the 3 months.
Yeah.
So the 8 hours I spent was there, to get the extension, and you go in and you can explain, gee, we're getting married, we're going to be going through all this for you guys,
Yeah.
and they're very nice. It's like America. It's like fill out the paperwork, stamp it, give me your credit card,
Yeah.
and $60 later you get the extension.
Okay, cool.
And I guess what I have learned, there are places you can go, lawyers or whatever, that will do the service for you.
Yeah.
But that's going to cost you quite a lot of money to go through that
There
as
are
well.
these relocation services.
Yeah.
And it's can be worth it because it takes away a lot of stress.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's quite pricey, and
Yeah,
it still
you
takes
do.
some
I think you have
time.
to weigh it. Is it worth the headache compared to €500 or €600
Yeah,
to just have somebody that knows what they're doing do it for you?
true. And now, have you already found yourself a job, or how are you?
That's the other thing. Nobody wants to talk to you unless you have a work permit.
True.
Very few places will more or less sponsor you for a work permit.
Yeah.
I think it's only like really big corporations
Exactly, that's,
that are bringing in their own people. So. If you're somebody like me that has, a great resume, years of experience, you really can't start doing anything until you get the proper paperwork. So the problem
Yeah.
is, you're living off your savings,
Yeah,
which also makes a difference because I can't make money. I'm living off what I brought in.
yeah, and it's slowly like decreasing,
Yeah.
and you don't know when you can put
Exactly.
it back. Yeah.
And, one of the things they want to see is, your bank account.
Oh yeah.
And you want to go, my bank account was much bigger 3 months ago when I got here, but I've been living off of it, waiting to
If
get
the
a job
process
here.
was faster, then it would be still like it would look good still.
Yeah.
But now I have to spend it. Yeah, true. But are you? How are you dealing with your experiences so far? How do you find it in the city? What are you?
I love Budapest. It's a beautiful city, beautiful people. I was, talking to you guys earlier. I said it reminds me a lot of New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's a tourist destination. People come here for a good time. It's got great food, great art, great music, beautiful architecture. So it's such an incredible place to live now. And then, last month it gets named, the top tourist destination in Europe. So I said, I definitely picked a good town.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, Budapest has a very strong comedy scene. So I've been able to get out. And what's very advantageous is the comedy scene here is in English.
Yeah.
So there's places I can get out and perform and vent, and it's a real international comedy crowd. So I'm sharing stage time with Hungarians, with guys from Iran, from Iraq, from Turkey, from India, from Great Britain, from, all over the world.
Yeah.
And, English has become, I guess, that universal language for communication.
Yeah.
So that is what's been so very cool, is getting to meet all these new people and being able to converse, in English and perform in English to an audience that comes for, comedy in English, which is amazing.
How do you? What do you think about the audience compared to in the U.S.? Like, do they get your jokes, or is it kind of?
I think so. It's, from what I've noticed, it's a very young hip crowd I've noticed at the shows so far, like at Aurora and House Bar and Filter Art Club, where I've gotten out to, and I've got a thing coming up at Brody. So they're very cool, you know, they're very hip, they're very open-minded, which I think makes the big difference.
Sure, yeah.
So I think, you know, what they don't get, you just kind of laugh with it and go on from there.
Yeah, just move on. And what's your style as a comedian? Are you like, are you like super brutal? Use a lot of like kind of.
I'll stop you when you're wrong.
Yeah, okay, so.
I've been doing it a long time. I spent years on stage opening for bands, for, you know, metal bands, rock bands. So I have a good time when I'm on stage.
Yeah. But you are not so sweet talking, or?
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
As my mother says, you don't have to swear so much. And I said, I don't think about it when I'm on stage, Mom. It's just part of the joke.
Yeah, I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just coming naturally.
Part of my vocabulary at this point.
So, so this is like kind of a way for you to deal, like when you're doing stand-up comedy in Budapest, are you kind of talking about your experiences so far?
Yeah, a lot.
And
yeah, a lot. That's what's been so great. In fact, the funny thing is, since I've started doing comedy here, it's all new material. I do.
It's based on like new experiences.
Yeah, it's a whole new life, and comedy is based on life experience.
True.
So it's just a clean slate of new material to work with every week, which
That's
is
good,
so
no?
cool. Yeah. You know, I've been listening to my act for 30 years, so it's nice to hear myself doing new material.
For sure. But that's actually a really good way, I think, to... It's like going to the psychologist almost, but you have a huge audience and you just tell everything and then you laugh about it. And
stage time is definitely therapy for comedians.
Right?
It's a very good way to put it, yeah.
That's maybe we should all do it. We should just joke about our... Actually, it's quite a good way to deal with your emotions and everything and whatever you're going through.
Problems at work, problem at home.
Talk
get on
about
stage
it,
and talk about it,
laugh about it, forget about it, you know, move on. And do you want to like work as a comedian here, or are you more like you want to be in the restaurant?
I love doing it. I want to get back into the restaurant business because, you know.
Do you have your eyes on some specific restaurant where you would like to?
You know, it's like I've been to so many great places. So once I've got, you know, the proper paperwork, you know, I'd love to talk to some places. You know, like I said, with my resume, I shouldn't have any problem. So it's just, I think the opportunity there, you know, is there to do comedy as much as I can.
Yeah.
And get a job, you know, back in the restaurant business or something in the entertainment business.
Come on, open up your own restaurant. Make like a comedy restaurant.
So many people say that, but you know, nobody's coming to Budapest for a shrimp po' boy. So
what's a what?
Shrimp po' boy. You need to go to New Orleans. A po' boy is a Louisiana sandwich.
All right.
And they come a myriad of different ways.
Yeah.
And everything from fried shrimp to fried oysters to roast beef to, and they come fully dressed, which is lettuce, pickles, tomato, mustard, onions, hot sauce.
And it's like huge, no? Like
they're good sized.
Yeah.
And that is what New Orleans is known for. They're not poor boys, they're po' boys.
Po' boy.
P-O apostrophe boy.
Po' boy.
Po' boy.
Okay, I need to have a bite of a po' boy.
Restaurants have an 80% fatality rate, which means that if 10 restaurants open in Budapest this year, out of that 10, 8 will go out of business.
Okay, but then if you open a comedian restaurant, you can still do the comedy and just not eat or have popcorn.
I'll just work in somebody else's restaurant and do a good job and perform on the outside. It
sounds
nice,
like a strategy.
It's nice having somebody else worry about the place and just letting me do what I do.
Actually, I agree with you, I guess. So far, I mean, when you think about your experiences coming as an expat, moving here quite recently, is there something you would like to tell to our viewers that kind of like advice or do's and don'ts? This was a mistake, I should have done it like that, or? Definitely
not a mistake. Join expat groups.
Yeah.
Join, you know, there's a lot of great Facebook pages, which is like how I found you guys. Keep track of everything, make friends, in the area. Talk to other people that are going through what you're going through because they're going to give you the best advice.
True. Yeah. It's like if you reach out to people and
Yeah.
tell your situation, then you can find the answers more easily. That's true. So,
Plug the show. Plug the show.
plug what?
Plug the show.
Talk the show.
What's he
Plug-
talking
plug
about?
the
Plug
show.
the show.
Oh, your show?
No, your show.
Your show.
Oh, my
He
show.
did-
Come and see me.
Yes.
Comedy at the Aurora, House
When?
Bar, Improv at the Filter, and I think the 25th. I have something at one of the Brody House locations.
Right. Maybe you can send me. Do you, also when you do this your shows, are they recorded or it's like that's it and it's
Sometimes
gone?
I've never been somebody that likes to put my stuff on the internet.
Oh,
just 'cause
really?
It's too easy, for me to record a show in Budapest. Some kid in Kansas sees it and can be doing my material. So for me, sometimes people will record my stuff and put it up, which is fine. But
Yeah.
I've never felt the need to put an entire show online.
But
Mainly because my shows vary every week. I've never done the same show twice in 30
yeah.
years.
But I think it would be very nice if you could maybe send me afterwards. If you can send me, if you have some specific dates or something,
Yeah,
then we can
definitely.
put it under the video. And I would love to go. We should go, right?
We should go.
Awesome.
We should go. Yeah.
Very cool.
So you will have we're a few people here. You will have a great
Good.
support,
5 people in the audience at least.
at least, and we're gonna laugh.
Well, what's amazing is these shows are packed. And,
Yeah.
and they're like a Monday and Tuesday nights, and it's standing room only. And you don't see that in America.
Really?
In America, you're lucky to sell out a show on a Friday or Saturday night. To see these places standing room only on a Monday or Tuesday night, that says something about, the art scene and the entertainment scene in Budapest, that it's that strong and that supported by people.
Cool. Okay, I'm excited. We're gonna round it up, but
Yeah, we've been talking so long. She's going to throw something at you.
We
any
got a
second.
15 minutes,
I've been
so-
watching. She's held up the 15, and I'm going, wrap it up. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep talking. And then I saw one that said an hour and a half, and I was well, I
Yeah.
think that's way too long.
yeah, it's a bit long. But I think 15, 17 minutes, we're good. We're gonna post some information of where you can find Brett, where you can listen to some of his jokes. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.